peaceful, gracious. One is, another is magnanimous, and all of that. Two of them just came together, shook hands, spoke to the nation about being peaceful. That was one of the proudest moments for a lot of Liberians, and people just went about their normal business. There are certain things that you do, like if you if you if you support a cause and that cause is defeated, the way you go about after the defeat can lead to what it can make folks to either continue taunting you or maybe to just give it up and say, well, man, the man has already given up. What is there to article? So after that gracious concession speech and then the call and then media at the executive mansion, it will seem as if all the different political taunts have withered away. Yeah. Either organically or maybe folks have been told not to. Because I was listening to one of the political leaders of the Unity Party Alliance on the radio yesterday, and I'm talking about Senator Darius Dillon. He was talking about how, in fact, they've toned down the rhetorics. So I was thinking maybe they've been told to tone down the rhetoric, the campaign rhetoric, and all of that, or maybe the folks have just decided on their own. Because what is there to criticize? The man has conceded defeat. So what is there to criticize? The man has conceded defeat. Many of his partisans, including myself, have gone on to congratulate the president-elect, Joseph Boakai and what have you. And so what is there to criticize? So a lot of folks have toned down the campaign rhetoric. People are moving on. Some of the folks are reaching out to their friends because, look, this campaign hurt a lot of relationships. It hurt families. It hurt friendships. It hurt collegial relationships and all of that. Some of the folks in the workplace, for instance, had their relationships severed. As a result of the political campaign, either they started wearing, one party t-shirt, another person didn't like it, or maybe they started making one, backing one side in an argument, and another person didn't like it. There are other instances where people were physically attacked. Families, I know a lot of families that had some issues as a result of this campaign. Either one person supporting one side, another person supporting another side. Not a lot of people can not a lot of people can take political disagreements as far as on that level, maybe at the family level, quite well. But one family that I can point out that take their political disagreement very well, and I think they did it in the 2017 election, they did it in the 2023 elections, is what is Canvey Giddens Adams? Mr. Adams and his wife. Canvey is a Unity Party supporter. She has always been. Her husband is a CDC supporter. He's always been. But at the end of the day, their union remains strong and all of that. They support different sides and what have you. And so that's a cue for a lot of families to take to take from. You move on. Plus, the fact that the president of the country has sounded all of the right notes, the different conciliatory notes. He's talked about, firstly, that no party has, all of Liberia has won. He congratulated President-elect Joseph Newman Boakai, but then he also called his cabinet to a meeting at the executive mansion where all of the cabinet officials were. Normally, the president called a cabinet meeting at the executive mansion. Would just be senior official? It will be the minister proper, maybe the heads of state-owned enterprises. But this time around, he had assistant minister, deputy minister. So in some instances, deputy directors of state-owned enterprises, deputy managing directors, and what have you. And then there, he just spoke about, he pulled the house out. In the last few days, the president has been talking about what might or might not have caused his election defeat. But then he also rallied his people to move on. And there's something quite complimentary. We've used gracious enough now, but something that we saw that he did that was quite statesman-like when he said, former Vice President Boakai waited for his time and we should give it to him. That's why he told his cabinet officials, He said the man waited for a time and he won. I'm not going to be the president that will preside over Liberians losing their lives because of elections. And I'm sure what he must have been referring to were things that happen across Africa. One of the election that comes to mind quite prominently is the Kenyan elections that happened, I think it was in 2008, where a very slim margin separated both parties. And guess what? They went into a year-long crisis with people wielding machetes in the street. Machetes, in other words, cutlasses, knives, and all of that. Wielding it in the street there. They are stabbing one another and what have you from different political parties. So all that could have happened in Guinea right next door when it was viewed that Alpha Conde had, that was the allegation that he had stolen the elections. That country went into chaos until the military stepped in. We are stepping. We can talk about a lot of other countries that have similar situation, from Mauritania and what have you. But has been a consistent advocate for people sticking to their constitutional limits. That is, you got to do. Firstly, he said he said to the United Nations that he's going to organize a free, fair, and credible elections. He said to ECOWAS he's going to organize a free, fair, and credible election. He said to the AU that he was going to organize a free, fair, and credible elections. All of these promises he kept. And quite surprisingly, a lot of people didn't expect that he would have left. That he would have, conceded the way he did. He conceded, moved on, organized his transition team, brought in, call on President-elect Joseph Boakai to come to the executive mansion. They had a chit chat. You could have seen the two leaders talking like they weren't criticizing each other weeks before. So who are you to keep taunting? Partisans from other political parties when the two leaders have moved on. Even President-elect Joseph Boakai yesterday talked about the kind of Liberia he wants to build. He wants to build a Liberia that is peaceful, that is reconciled, but a Liberia that doesn't see Unity Party or the CDC. That's exactly what he said yesterday at the Kingdom campaign. So who are you to come and talk about, you supported that party? Look, 50% of Liberian people support a different party. 50%, almost. So this country is divided only about 20,000 people. We have about 5 million population. So only about 20,000 people decided that, and that's the hallmark of democracy. Nobody's so as a result of that. But we're saying stop calling people, because I've had a few friends who've told me that they've received calls for some of the folks saying, you used to say this, you used to say that, and X, Y, and Z. And that's not what President-elect Joseph Boakai is preaching. He's saying the Liberia we're talking about, every Liberian has to have their rights and their democratic rights and their freedoms protected. So he's quite unlike you, who's out there trying to reach out. Some of the folks, people voted in these elections. Some of them, a lot of people maybe observed the wider political terrain and maybe made a decision as a result of that. But some of the folks, I can tell you quite frankly, made their decision simply because they had problems with either their neighbors or their colleagues at work, at the workplaces, or their friends. So that's how they made their decision. And so this is the time for them to settle scores. But the former vice president is basically saying this is not the time. And so let's get to some of the comments he made during the yesterday when he celebrated his 79th birthday. Look, I mean, okay. The former vice president has been at the helm of Liberian governance processes for quite a long time, whether it was LPMC or the Ministry of Agriculture, or serving on Star Radio Board or on several other boards. So he does understand quite a lot about the body politics of Liberia. But one of the things that he himself has said it, that if there's anything that wouldn't work in the country, one thing that's going to work would be the state of agriculture, because that's something he knows. He was Minister of Agriculture. He was head of LPMC, but also, he had quite a humble beginning in the rural area making farms and all of that. And that one of the things he said yesterday, when he was hailed by a lot of different stakeholders. He mounted a stage, basically said he came from quite a very humble beginning. His mother and father could not provide for him from back in Wasonga Foya, and then he mounted to order. He's become a now president elect of the country. That was quite a gratifying moment for him. I think it almost brought him to tears, and a lot of other people in the audience also felt similarly. So it shows that with perseverance and determination, a lot can be achieved. A lot can be achieved, and that's why the current president did say that the former vice president and president-elect now waited for his time, and he earned it. So the current president also waited for his time. Remember, he lost 2 elections and then went on to win the 2017 election. The former vice president lost 2017 elections and then has gone on to win the 2023 elections. And so he was just admonishing his supporters that the current Liberia we're in, some of the things he said, let's just quote him verbatim, was that people are not going to sit on the radio or maybe in the public sphere and just insult their political leaders in order that that's going to change, that there's going to be a time, this is a time for harmony, and that, he talked about, the need for reconciliation. There's been a lot of different views about what that form of reconciliation is going to take. Some of the people think that reconciliation, is important, but it shouldn't mean a form of reconciliation that doesn't take into account, in their voice, accountability. Some other folks have said reconciliation should mean a form of inclusion, because this country was divided almost 50-50 down the middle. So if you exclude a whole segment of the country, and that's what happened in 2000 and in 1997 when Taylor was elected. That's what happened when Doe was elected, however you want to call it, whether fraudulent or not, in 1985. With exclusion of a whole segment of society, you see the emergence of some sort of schism or conflict in the long or short run. So, when we talk about reconciliation, a lot of people have been offering different opinions. One group, even talk about the fact that they want to see maybe inclusion in government of people from the other side. But another group has also said that there should be and I think this is the most outrageous comment that I've read online. Okay, I saw a counter. I think it was in the analyst newspaper, basically citing an outrageous comment that was made by two leaders, former leaders of the PUL, basically calling on the new administration to issue travel ban on officials of the former administration. And this op-ed in the analyst was basically saying that these former officials are being overzealous. That would be a fundamental violation of the constitutional rights of people, because only a court order can issue. And if you have an indictment, firstly, the Constitution guarantees free movement, freedom of movement, freedom of thought, freedom of religion, and all of that. And that's how that's why we have a thriving country right now. But if you start to institute measures without, that is not sanctioned by the laws of Liberia, and we just want to urge President-elect Joseph Boakai, there's going to be a lot of sycophants coming around. Some of them were actors in the old administration. They are still permeating the scene, looking for greener pasture right now. And a lot of them are come overnight, in the wee hours, in the darkness, and sort of want to perpetuate them or project themselves as the savior that they had told the previous administration X, Y, and Z, and they didn't listen to them. And that's how that sycophants behave. But there's also going to be other actors who barely said a word during all of the time the Unity Party was struggling to come back to power. They barely said a word. They didn't identify the Unity Party at all, because they never thought the Unity Party would have won the elections. They never thought. They never had a slighter inkling that the Unity Party would have won the elections. And so they were putting their mouths where their belly was. But suddenly now they become advocates of the former vice president and president-elect, that is. Those are the secret friends we're talking about. So we just urge the president-elect to be a little bit careful with some of these folks. They roam about at one administration to the next. They are all over the place, projecting themselves as the most qualified folks, and they will be the first to dish you the moment they start to see the semblance of trouble. The moment they start to see the semblance of trouble, and it's a good thing that at least the president-elect is, career, governance person. He's been in the scene for quite a while, so I think he can discern on his own some of these folks. There are a few folks I really respect in the Unity Party. People who were there during the tough days, the likes of my friend Mo Ali, who went through the tough times, who said, in spite of all, I'm going to stick with my conscience and what I believe in. Those are the kind of folks we respect. The likes of Boakai Jaliba, Robert Wilson, and all of those different folks. I could go on. Sorry if I don't name it. These are just people that I know. I could go on and name a lot of different people. But there are other newcomers now. Suddenly they want to project themselves. Yeah, we don't want fought for this. We fought for that. And when did you start fighting? When you saw that the man went to a second round and realized that he could possibly win because they were 43. By the time you started fighting, and suddenly now you want to project yourself as the leader and you want to start giving advice that other leaders should be, start from traveling. That would be a fundamental violation of people's rights, and that could lead to chaos. One of the things the new leaders don't want to do, the economy will be tough. You want to focus on that. You want to focus on the expectation of the population. And we're going to get to the whole thing about expectation because I know America made a lot of comments about expectation and all of that. And it seems like he's beginning to fall out of favor with people in the Unity Party. I didn't see did anybody see a happy birthday wish from former Minister Connor yesterday? From Ambassador Joseph Boakai? I didn't see one. Anyway, so so there will be these newcomers. So we just urge you to know that the greater task right now is to reconcile the country. So in 2017, this country has never been this divided. In 2017, President Weah won the first round of the elections by more than 10%. With his closest rival, Joseph Boakai. I think Joseph Boakai was way around 29 or 28% of the votes. The second round, he won about 60. Joseph Boakai is 40% of the votes. So it was not as divided as it is now. It's almost evenly in the middle. So it's a greater tax for the new administration. And with the level of political consciousness that exists now, if people start to witch hunt, and that's exactly what President Weah was warning against. Look, President Weah said, don't witch hunt my people. He didn't say don't hold them accountable, don't audit. He didn't say that. I don't remember that. He said, don't make it seem as if you're witch hunting them. So witch hunt, audits are conducted all the time. There are a lot of audits on the GSC website. So when a person we audit, but they've been auditing. Auditing. So it is a level of naivety where folks say we will audit the administration, but there's been audits carried out. Unless you may be talking about a special commission, which by the way has to be sanctioned by the national legislature to do a specialized kind of maybe asset verification that they've been talking about. But then that will be usurping the function of the LSCC. So all those different things. So when we hear them talk about those stuff, you wonder what exactly they're talking about. That's why, the former Minister of State, Nathaniel McGill, basically said, well, I don't have a problem with audits. So if you want to audit, and in fact, I think we should go further. That's what he said. I think we should also establish a special court for economic crimes and war crimes, and then talk about some of those things that have happened in the past. And all of that. Anyway, so we've talked a lot. Let me give you 13 minutes of course, and then I'll reach out to I just urge the Minister of Youth and Sports to just hold on, and maybe the Presidential Press Secretary to hold on. We'll reach out to both of them. But let's open the lines. Call us on 080-514-096. That's 080-514-096. Or call me on 086-561-537. Let's chit chat about some of the things we've talked about This morning on the show, we talked about. Okay, we got our first call. Let's talk to this caller. Good morning,
my brother.
Yeah, Nemo, where are you calling from?
This is God Plateau, and I call you from District 10.
Okay, God.
And I must say to you, I monitor very keenly the conversation, your analysis, discussion of things from beginning to the point you reach to allow the public to make input.
Okay.
And I will say this to you, that is just perfectly the case. When President we are chose to concede, or when he considered based on his conviction that the matter is over, three things I keep telling people President we are did. One, he undercut the devilish plan by certain individuals to plunge the country into war or conflict. Two, President Weah rewrote a new approach to the electoral politics of Liberia on the books. President Weah saved this country of resources to go to court. He created a condition of everybody allowing their muscles to flex down rather than allowing muscles to be safer, going to hold up and up. Sentencing at one another's throats. And number three, he demonstrated beyond every reasonable doubt that he, being the king leader of this armament and the reconsideration, reintegration of belligerent forces into peaceful society, he will continue to ensure that such approach continues on Liberia peace.
Okay.
He spoke it from the beginning, and peace he spoke at the end till now. President, we have demonstrated that.
Thank you. We gotta go. Let's talk to Lauren Boba from Foya. Lawrence, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Boakai Foana.
How is Foya? By the way, Foya is very important. We need to talk about that. How is Foya? Is it calm there now?
See, was the Foya? I know that is good because of I left Foya 2 days ago. I'm in Colorado.
Yeah.
Having the marriage ring, so that I'm here for.
Okay. Maybe we need a needle. We'll see you.
Okay, no problem. I'm about to take you.
Okay.
Let me just say, first of all, today's my birthday. But
Happy birthday.
You begin my day today.
Okay.
Let me just say those that say in the corner is our time. This is our time. We're out there. And of course, we are showing serious demonstration of love for the country. Because of bloodshed, all the things, but we are accepting the truth. The only thing we begging the other thing, you not win. You will be peaceful. But what if convincing all the 4 years, you will think about that win, giving you a key talk, doing any type of thing. So let us deviate from that so that we can have one Liberia, one local, one 4 years. Thank you so much, brothers.
Thank you. Let's talk to more callers. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Boakai Foana.
Yeah, your name, where are you calling from?
Yeah, I'm George, and I call you from Morovia this morning.
Okay, George.
President Boakai, I want to commend you for taking your precious time this morning to come on the radio to inform the Liberian people about the maturity of our democracy and the value that President we have added to our democracy. The thing is, Boakai, to see certain governments in Liberia, West Africa, that we're experiencing of everyday coup d'etat, and see of certain presidents who have tested out just over 5 to 6 years and able to accept results not less than 20,000 votes. It takes a president to do that. It takes a president to do that.
Yeah.
And we that support President we are being mocked every day in our community. People going all kinds of needs. But we can assure them that the expectation that the priests will have been put that they will rescue us from all the problems that have been facing all the years, will make sure over the 6 years they will deliver. But
you gotta get it time to set it in now. You gotta get it time to set it in.
No, there'll be no time. We'll make sure they deliver us because they told us that they knew the problem to the solution. Now, but I was interviewed when national election gave a national winner, and he said he not know the problem. So yourself commission to see how they know the problem. That was the deceptive point to the preach. They make
Did he say that? Did he say that? When he said that?
Yeah, that's what he said. He said yourself a thing to know what the reason chicken feed prices are up, red prices are up, what the reason mosquito costs.
but that is not to say you don't know the problem.
No, they do all that they knew the problem, knew how to solve it. What now is anything you tell us to know what the reason the persons are going on, brother? That was the second point that they preach. But we can assure them that after 3 months, if they fail to deliver the people, there will be a continuous process in our country and they delay for us for.
Okay, all right, thank you. Yeah, you two can place your calls to 086 561537 or 080 514 Let's talk to our caller over there. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
I'm getting you. How are you?
Your name, where are you calling from?
Hey, Emmanuel,
Emmanuel, go ahead.
The fact of the matter is that they are not control of space just because they accept it. And it's elections they have to deal with. So it's not only that you get a story that you accepted to see that.
Oh my man. Other leaders, come on now. You gotta be fair too now. You gotta be fair.
It's not that you were defeated.
So other African leaders can know that they were defeated and they can stick on.
But why you didn't try?
But that's why we're commending him.
Why you didn't try? You can't do it.
Okay, all right, my man. The men are saying the campaign mode. But your political leaders have commended President Weah, by the way. And we should commend President-elect Joseph Boakai too. Both men have struck a really, really peaceful chord. And that's the theme of today's conversation. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, you two can place your call 086 561537 or 080 514 Yeah, your name, where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Rosetta from Raleigh, and I call from Manila resident.
Rosetta, go ahead.
Yeah. I want to share the president and the outgoing president and the president-elect. And I'd like to say to all citizens, you have safe there and the Latin person. And in the cases of all housing on the rest, like some 2029, we can be a person coming back. So sometimes we should restrain ourselves from violence. Only when you are centralized to use the purpose, me, I tell your computer as example, or only not use like a funny, but we shouldn't be violent like other people think. Thank you for calling me the opportunity.
Thank you. You two can place your call 080 514 096 or 086 561 callers, let's chit chat. We're talking about the democratic transition the Liberia has made. We're also talking about the wonderful, beautiful birthday celebration yesterday of His Excellency President-elect Joseph Newman Boakai, who celebrated his 79th birthday yesterday. While also recognizing the fact that he's been with his wife for more than 50 years. Can you imagine? Anyway, let's talk to this caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Your name, where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Brother Peter Cole, and I do the microphone foundation number 5 in Batala Bon County.
Oh, Watala. How is Watala this morning?
By the grace of God, where there is life, there is hope. I will first commend you for the show. But some of the things that happen, sometimes this is why sometimes when things are happening when you are being enmeshed, it's good to control your emotion when you're talking before you speak to it. What I'm trying to say in short, we see people as continue to emphasize anything percent that they government should or all the power administration, most people that serve in minister position, it came from the angle of our Minister of State for Presidency FL when he was elected by the UL.
The US.
The statement made by him in Boakai, he said, the people say we'll ski. They even will ski. The money will carry all every day in Liberia. So that statement alone, it show concern about the person when they talking or when talking about the government to all the. It's not like people just wake up and just talk Sunday. Like
no, but of course, audit. Let's state audit is not a bad thing. I think there should be audits. But the point I was making also is that audits are conducted all the time. So it's not like there's going to be anything new There are a lot of other reports on the GSC website, a lot of other reports that have been filed to the national legislature in keeping with the GSC laws. So it's not like, unless maybe they want to establish a specialized court, in which case it got to be approved by the national legislature, and they got to also look at how does that contravene the established, responsibilities of the existing anti-graft institutions like the GSC and LSCC.
Thank you so much. And one of the things that is, people are thinking talking about the government should audit the past administration or any government. Halfway as people do. The government are just leaving. They're supposed to do an audit at that time, but I believe.
Well, maybe listen to nothing I say. Anyway, all the thing I tell you, somebody get a student to talk. We talk anything. Okay, yeah, thank you. Okay, let me talk. So basically, what I was saying is that audits are conducted every time in government. So I think the last set of audits, I don't know the last when they did the last one, but there are audits up to 2021, 2022. So when people talk about what the last says, what are you going to? So what kind of that mean you want to redo what the GSC has already done, or what are you going to be doing? Let's talk to this caller. Good morning.
Morning, Mr. Foana.
Your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Abu Shari. I'm calling from Micat Freeway.
Abu, you sounding so grim this morning. You need to wake up.
I'm a kid already.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Yeah, when they pass government, I was a president right now audit. That one, that I choose to understand. But it is government one audit that you are right.
That yeah,
so,
I agree.
Yes, the one audit is that right. Then also I agree with you. And you, but you don't have to call me, but I'm going to call me here.
Those for my program.
Yeah, no, sorry, but Mr. Koji, John, Moses, actually, if all president we are can agree with the defeat, and all your boss is a peaceful man on day one in your record. But the rest of peaceful men. Okay? So we are can accept the defeat. And all Mr. Boakai, gradually, also, for our supporter, then they told them get the threatening. People the threatening. I'll let to tell them after they will not threaten, please.
No,
because they are first man.
All right.
Peaceful man is a peaceful man. Thank you for my brother. Stop there.
And I don't deny the fact that President Weah has been extremely peaceful. Since 2005, he's been consistent. 2005, he lost the elections. A lot of people wanted to protest. Some of his own supporters went out in the streets and started to protest. That was, in fact, during the time we had the United Nations missions in Liberia. So, and that mission was quite huge. They had a significant military presence. In Ireland nowadays, where we didn't get more out. At that time, it's all year around. You can feel, when the Irish troop, if I, make its presence in the streets at the time, people will run. So that was when folks were protesting. So the president at the time called all his supporters, to give it up. That the elections have been won by President Salif and all of that. In 2011, again, he did the same thing. So that's just the nature of the president we are. But I wouldn't say that these folks have been threatening the peace, the people names he called. I think this is the kind of democratic dispensation that we have. Look, I always encourage people to speak up, what is burning them, speak up about what is burning them inside, speak up their minds. And that is one of the good things for a democracy. When people speak up their minds, they are less likely to be violent. When they have the opportunity to voice their opinions and people hear them, they are less likely to be violent because it's a therapy in itself. They go out there and saying, yes, I have dealt with what I wanted to deal with. I've dealt with that man and X, Y, and Z. Nobody's going to run out of here. And so, like President, we are treated Yeke Koluba, for instance. Yeke will come on the radio and say all the things he wanted to say. Or maybe Senator Prince Johnson will come on the radio and say all of the things he wanted to say. And nobody's going to run after them. And that's how you keep the peace. President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf did the same. The democratic dispensation as is under President Sirleaf. So people should be allowed to say what they feel. I haven't seen, an instance where they've threatened. I haven't heard of an instance where they've threatened the peace. In which case, by the way, I'll be the first to talk about that. But all I've heard is basically, I think, I don't like this happened, and X, Y, and Z, and blah, blah, blah. We need to go to court and all of the different stuff. Those are the talks. I don't see how threatening that can be when the president himself has said, well, congratulations to His Excellency, the president-elect, and we're going to create a smooth transition and all of that. So, so you can place your calls to those numbers. We're going to attempt right now to reach out to a few persons on this platform. Let's talk to this caller first. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Musu calling, and I'm calling from Boakai Foana.
Yeah, Musu. I hope that's Boakai.
I get a unity party people chasing or threatening us up and down here.
Oh, they're threatening you?
Yes, so they go say we get rest on this. So we want to support the president.
And I just hope that the Unity Party leaders are listening to them. Maybe they could call in on the show to do the admonition. Because, Musu, before you finish, I think I was listening to the ERBC. Before you finish, I think I was listening to the ERBC this morning, and there's something similar that came up. All right, go ahead, make your point first. Go ahead, make your point.
Yeah, so, what I want to say this morning, if the president-elect, or even the vice president-elect, that is that Senator Moy and his Unity Party for that in this county. Because we would not say here, we were the CDC, and first supporter of Honorable Cole, that they will bring, because they going around how they will have by-elections in District 3, because they know that the 100% that here to send for the CDC. And he's the 100% one that can face it. When you can't, so they have weapons. The way they treated us in this country, they were not even good. You get because you call yourself have weapons, and you dare to tell everybody.
Yeah, you can't be selective. Yeah.
When somebody go there to vote treatment, they will ask you, what are you from the CDC? They will not treat you. When they they're not small kids, they were running there.
That's a grave allegation. We can prove that.
There was a boy that gave complaint that he went there, a woman was eating, and now ORC, after requesting a lot of money from that particular guy, he left because they called the air for meeting. Somebody out there.
Musu, we gotta go. But thank you so much for. Thank you so much, Musu. She raised quite an, and we're going to get to the Minister of Youth and Sports right now. She raised quite an important point about these post-election taunts and maybe even post-election attacks and violence in some instances. I was listening to the ERBC radio this morning, and I heard something similar that was happening in Nimba County, where I think the superintendent or some county official must have intervened and said, "Stop! You need to stop." People are engaging in reprisal of what they may refer to as their reprisal attacks and all of those stuff. So it is up to it's up to the old administration, the outgoing administration, but the responsibility falls more on the new administration. To start sounding the right notes to their people. Because at the end of the day, listen, this country, I said it before, it's split down the middle, 50-50. You don't want to be seen as ostracizing a whole segment of the population. That's 50% of the population, or almost 50%, just shy of 20,000 votes. So if you're seen as doing that, that's going to be, well, we wish the new administration well. We hope that they can grapple with some of the economic conditions. They can, take on some of the economic conditions very well, live up to the expectation of the people. We wish them very well. But the only way that you can achieve all of these promises you made is to make sure that the country is peaceful. And that's when we need to sound the right messages. And speaking of peace, by the way, one of the areas that is very important is, how we come together as a people in unity, and peace and all of that. And one of the events that have been bringing us together is the county meet. There's been quite a calm atmosphere after the elections. And now we are about to go to something that will bring us together even more, even further. So we have the Youth and Sports Minister on the line, Minister Zioga Wilson, right now. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Deputy Minister Boakai Foana. How are you this morning?
We're doing quite well. How are you?
Well, I'm fine. To God be the glory. I'm thankful to God.
Okay. Yeah, tell us all about the county meet. I know that it is about this time that it starts, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The council meet is scheduled to commence on December 16th. The official opening ceremony will be held in Fishtown, River G. River G is the official host where the official ceremony will take place. Then on Sunday, the 17th, all of the venues will be playing games. The venues are Morovia, Monserrato County, the ATS. Monserrato County is one of the hosts. Nima County, San Nicolas is one of the hosts. And Magini is one of the hosts. So we hope the county meet bring again the unity we all speak about. In fact, this year's theme, Liberia, the nation united under one purpose. That theme was coined by His Excellency Dr. John Manawuya himself. The President graciously conceded that brought us to this level of calmness in the country. And he wants to continue the peaceful atmosphere with the hosting of the National County Sports Meet, a major deliverable of the government of Liberia, because the National County Meet brings all of us together. We want to see Senator Prince Johnson, Senator Jeremiah Cohn of BBE Light, President we are in Nima County, watching Grand Crew and Nima County play.
I know.
They are in the same group.
Yeah.
That's why we talk about the peace.
That is going to calm the tension.
Exactly. We also want to see Ambassador Joseph Boakai, President-elect, Thomas Fowler, Madam Judy, we are
Javon Koji. Oh. No, man, they have a nice about Anyway, yeah, I was talking there to the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports, and he was giving us some really important information about how the whole county meet is going to proceed. He talked about the different counties coming to. Okay, so I was trying to upload, but the minister is back on the line. Minister, the harmonize, you know.
Yeah, no. So we want to see all of these people come together because it's going to unify us. Okay. And the county meet provide a platform for all of us to be on one accord.
Yeah.
I want to see Senator Jonathan Boakai Segme, Ambassador Noah Fina Bodno, Senator Community Wilson, Senator President Dopo, all in Fishtown, supporting River G.
Yeah.
That's what we want to see. Yeah. And that's what this year's academy is all about.
Wow. Well, that is. So how long do we expect that is going to go on? Is it going to run into the inauguration? Because
no. The academy will end on January 14th, 6 days before the inauguration. 8 days, I believe.
So the inauguration is going to be around, say, the 22nd, right?
22nd, yes.
Okay.
The academy ends on January 14th.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's a beautiful combination of events. The county meet, we'll celebrate, and then we'll go to another patriotic event, the inauguration of the president. So you said again, it begins with the different, qualifiers in the counties and what have you, and then they come to. So how many teams will come to the SKD?
Well, it's usually 16, 8 kickball, 8 football, and this year we're having 3 days of play: football, kickball, and basketball.
Why is that?
Well, at times increasing the number of discipline puts financial burden on the counties. And because we see this county meet as a special one, we don't want to burden the counties much. So we limited the participation to 3 disciplines.
Plus, these are the disciplines that Liberians are quite passionate about, football, keyboard.
Yeah.
So if you bring in other stuff. Anyway, but we want to thank you so much, Honorable Minister.
You're most welcome.
Yeah, that's the voice of the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports, Minister Zogia Wilson, there talking to us about, some of the steps he is taking. So, I mean, this is a scheduled county meet. It happens every year. Last year, what the champion Nima, right? Yeah, Nima Bio in the in the final Lofa County. Wow. Yeah, we're looking to see Lofa this time around in the county meet. And let's hope that it's gonna be well. Sorry. They say make a multitask, you know that thing? Men, they said don't multitask very well because maybe we have a one track mind when we're doing things. We're doing the one. So I was sort of talking to you while I am uploading because I needed to talk to the presidential press secretary. So I'm going to be doing that very shortly. But yeah, so the Minister of Youth and Sports was basically talking about, some of the steps that they are taking currently now to ensure that we have a very good county meet. So the processes, he said, are going to begin firstly in the counties. He was hopeful that, for instance, that we'll see maybe Senator Johnson, Senator Vice President-elect Jeremiah Kung, and the current president, maybe seated in Nimba County, for instance, and watching the teams in Nimba. I can imagine what that's going to be like. Yeah, especially considering all of the different things that have happened around these elections. Yeah, so we want to talk about a lot of different things. Firstly, what is happening within the Unity Party? We've been hearing all kinds of talks about, some of the folks intending to alienate former Finance Minister Amara Kone, his role during the campaign and all of that. There's been folks who's talking about the fact that he's moving ahead of himself or have the party and all of that. He's bringing the party to disrepute. But there's other folks who are commending him. So they're saying that without his effort, they would not have won these elections. That it would have been almost next to impossible to have won these elections. So we're going to get to that. Plus a lot of other different, political machinations we'll be talking about on this platform. We're trying to get to Solo Kebe, who is the presidential press secretary, traveling along with the president. He had told me earlier that I'm on a train, so if you were to get to me, it would be a little bit difficult. But let's see. And it seems as if, true to his words. Anyway, so yeah, let's talk about him all you want. Minister Amara Kone is quite an amiable figure. He didn't really go to much of Liberian schools, with the exception of graduating from the Monrovia College. I think following that there was the onset of the Civil War. He landed in refugee camps, went to refugee schools, and then was fortunate to have gone to the United States. Got some of his academic qualifications in ICT and all of that, and then went on to the Harvard University Kennedy School, and graduated. But he seems to be one of the most relatable persons, considering the fact that he didn't graduate from the University of Liberia, and what all of that brings. If he didn't graduate from any of Liberian universities or the University of Liberia, at least, many people would think that your level of network and social connection will be quite limited, but he's done his best to ensure that he reaches out to all of. So even during his stint as finance minister, one of the things that people sort of commend him for was the fact that he was very much able to reach out, and so he reached out. The story is told of how, in fact, there was a point he affiliated with even the CDC. And following the CDC victory, I think there were a couple of things that they fell out on with the CDC. And then he went into exile, not in exile, that would be quite a strong word. He went overseas, and I think I had a brief time with the World Bank, and then came back, ran in an election. He was quite brilliant, sort of smart when it came to the Bapolo County election. He didn't criticize any of the political parties, but I think there was something that was underpinning. He didn't criticize any of the political party. Didn't criticize the Unity Party. Didn't criticize the CDC. So both party supporters kind of supported him. And then as soon as he won, he let the cat out of the bag, and then came out quite stingingly to support the Unity Party. Even at some point criticizing another, how do they call it, grassroots public official who's also a gifted person when it comes to social networking. I'm talking about, Commissioner Nangwe. A lot of people will talk about his networking skills, and the way he relates to ordinary people and what have you. And both of them served in the former administration, so they had a little tit for tat. And I think it does settle. Maybe friends must have intervened because I saw something from Senator Snow. No, I think I saw the first from Musa Ability, basically urging Senator Snow and other friends to intervene. And I think the dust settled. So things quieted. And these are two officials who have great networking skills. Minister Nangwe, in fact, is being told that he has such a wonderful networking skills that he reaches out to different, people, regardless of social status, regardless of the different affiliation you might have, religious, political, or what have you. He reaches out to you. Same as if Americana does the same. So both of them have quite an army when it comes to, their backers, at least on the internet. So when that thing happened, it was quite, for the different people were coming out, backing their sides and what have you. But Americana went on to set up the Unity Party War Room. There was a friend of mine I was talking to yesterday. He said politicians don't win elections. It is the technocrats that win elections. He said, so Amara was one of the technocrats of the Unity Party campaign, and he employed quite a number of different techniques, measures that were not employed during the first round of the elections, which eventually saw the Unity Party victory. But ever since the victory, there's been, as all things politics, people will start becoming concerned about some of the political utterances of other people. It would seem as if there's been some pundits who have said Amara has been claiming glory for all of the sweat and toils of the Unity Party. And that hasn't gone down well with a lot of people. And so there's been some concerns in the public. Firstly, it was his comments. Firstly, it was him being seen, sharing tears. And it was seen as if he was basically, overjoyed for the innocent, suspecting or maybe that'd be not the right word, but maybe if you didn't give you a political lens, you would just say, well, I mean, everybody's joyful in this and that. But some of the political eyes would say, but why is he claiming victory when he was not the sole person? If I want to join like 1 week or 2 weeks to the elections, we fought this thing all along, and then he came along, and then he cannot claim this glory. So we begin to hear that there's been some conversation behind the scene. There's been some arguments. There's been some machinations. And then all of this cascaded into, Amara Conan's 3 recent comments. The first one was when he said, following that ramming of the car into Unity Party supporters, that it was not, he outrightly ruled out the possibility of, premeditated act without a police investigation. So some of the folks were saying, well, I mean, you're running ahead of yourselves. This is not right. You can't be saying this, and X, Y, and Z, And then another one, he came up and said, another one he came out and said, the times are going to be tough and blah, blah, blah. We urge you to lower your expectation. In fact, that has been the major actually heals, that message of the Unity Party. A lot of people coming out, even some supporters of the Unity Party beginning to come out and say, no. You promised us this, you must deliver this. You can't be telling us to lower our expectation when you promise us X, Y, and Z. Because some of the pundits have been saying, look, 3 months from now, nobody's going to remember the CDC. 3 months from now, nobody's going to talk about the CDC. It's going to be the Unity Party in charge. So it's time now you better start working towards, rather than running after CDC people who said that, who didn't say that, who said that, who didn't say that. You better start setting up your ammunition, because 3 months from now, when the people waiting for salary and the people waiting for brush price to drop and the people waiting for LEC credit not to go up higher, the price of basic commodity is going to be on you. It's not going to be on the CDC anymore. Everybody's going to be talking about what the Unity Party is doing. So this is time that you set. So apparently Amar was thinking ahead. Well, he basically said, lower your expectation. But then that led to a backlash within, amongst the public. A lot of people said, no, he's not supposed to be saying this. Why is he even talking? He's not the official spokesperson of the Unity Party and X, Y, and Z, And so if I saw some Unity Party folks came out, Martin Colley, for instance, came out and rebuked him, in a polite way, but it was still a rebuke. Now we also saw another comment from John Molu rebuking Amara, and then Amara also came up lately again with this 20 scholarship for people that are in Unity Party War Room and blah blah blah. And then some other pundits came out and said, well, I mean, why? So you're beginning to sound the same note that you accuse the CDC of? Why are you sourcing scholarship only for people in United Party, and not even out of United Party, but only those in the war room? So these things, it seems as if has given him a kind of a tough start within the amongst his folks. Plus the fact that we know, I mean, they will not come up to the fore to say that we know that DeLong, Yombli Kanga, these are the fighters for the Unity Party in the past, long many years. They endure all of the quote unquote struggles, for the Unity Party, and then suddenly they don't want that show to be stolen by a newcomer, So all of these things are playing in the background, and so so when you begin to hear that, some of the folks are saying, the man running ahead of himself, he's running too fast. What is he doing? This is not time for days and all of that, and it seems as if that has slowed Amara down. To the extent yesterday, nobody saw. I was thinking, did anybody see a birthday post of Joseph Boakai's birthday from Minister Connor? Did you? Maybe if you saw it, you called me. I didn't see one. I would think that he would have been the first to post that. I didn't see one. So, but we shouldn't read too much into that. We're just telling you, with all administration come, with all administrations, there's going to be some schism. There's going to be some political maneuverings. These things could either resolve themselves quickly, so it might not even lead to any further rate, or they could widen and become, very bad. So let's hope for the best. We wish the new administration well. But we should also state that former Vice President Joseph Boakai put out a press release on yesterday that he's going to be leaving the country for about 2 to 3 weeks. He's going to be visiting a lot of different stakeholders in the United States, people who heavily supported, according to the release, the Unity Party, but also going to be visiting friends and what have you. He's going to be away for 2 to 3 weeks. There's been some other concerns about those and what have you, but we're going to leave it with the public. Our objective now is not to, because this is state radio, our objective is not to criticize the constitutionally elected president elect so far of the country, but basically inform the public about what is it that he is doing, while also sounding a reconciliatory note. So if you have some concerns about some of the things I've been saying, you could call us on the following number: 0886-561-5370 or 080514-096. But call us on the latter number. I want to take a short break, but you're gonna be answer. 080514-096. You're gonna be answer. I want to take a short break, but call us on those numbers. You'll be pleased on there. Okay, let's we're back. Let's take the president, or the outgoing president at least, or the last president of the PEL. I'll call you now, man. Coffee.
That's the former.
The former president of the PEL. I want to say outgoing. I want to say yeah. So this is the former president of the PEL, Chas Coffee. He's on the line. Good morning, Chas.
Yeah, good morning. And back to town. I mean, the talking points are very good. They have interest in the peace process. Very concerned for the lady from Ball County.
Yeah.
I think what is needed is that Liberia we are one. Those who voted to make Ambassador Boakai to become president were all not partisans of any political party.
Mm-hmm.
Because you talk about over 800,000, 700,000, they were not party alone.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Competition, somebody has to win.
Yeah.
And the president has already congratulated him for the sake of our country, the vice president too. So those who are the followers should now stop, engaging in acts that will signal way something, because there will always be election. The country for every Liberian, no one group owns this country. If you have the opportunity to lead, what we expect now is to maintain the peace and stability, improve the economy from this level to another level. Not everybody wants to work in government. People just want to do the free movement to continue on, so that they can cater for the family and engage in uniform venture.
Yeah.
So those who are leaders because these are warnings, these are signals. When you hear ordinary people calling that the other group attacking me,
yes.
These are all indicators
yes.
of violent brewing. Because it may be uncontrollable if nothing is done. So at this early stage, we want to call on all Liberians, especially those who are threatening their colleagues to stop. The country is our country. Government is for everybody. There will always be government.
Yeah.
Let me just set an example. Manasali came. She left. President Weah came. Boakai will not be there forever.
No, not at all.
There will be another election.
Yeah.
Other people will come. So it will always happen. That's what we call democracy. And after the elections, the leader is for the country. I don't think this current president was running the country on the basis of only people being CDC, Liberians. Even checking the government, there are people from Unity Party, from different political institutions, and some are not partisan.
No.
And the president has already mentioned that he's going to be president of Liberia. So people who are engaging in that, we have to call on them to stop. We are very interrelated. If you go to some of the political institutions, everybody know each other. So this is our country. Peace is important. We have suffered a lot. There was war, destruction of life and property. That's why the country is not to where we expected it. It will still take time. This government has done its part. All we need to do is to be one, so more development projects and programs can continue. I came from Southeast, I passed through Africa. So when I got to Campley, I was surprised. Electricity and the quota passed through Sana Kwele going towards Campley, people working along the borderline. The cycle period I know is still ongoing. So these are all development things that the country is moving forward. The president came and met some programs, all how he continue and initiative is the new government that will come should develop on that. So everybody will move freely.
Yeah.
So that's concerned on that, these kind of engagement are not good. I know the leaders are listening to talk to those who are engaging that so they can be peace.
Yeah. This is the voice of the former president of the Press Union of Liberia. We'll call on other stakeholders. Maybe if you're listening, you can call into the station. My number is 0886-561-537, 0886-561-537, or you can call the studio number 0880-514-096. Maybe you want to just sound similar caveat or admonition like the former president of the PUL, as far as peace and is concerned. Let's talk to this caller right here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name, where are you calling from?
My name is Mata Joe.
Well, Mata, go ahead.
Yeah. Boakai, I hear one call, I make it say a call.
Okay.
That what the president coming to when they win that on it, why we're coming to that those are used to that can force people in the community and some of them there. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
We the one that support CBC. How can I say they set it up? But we set it and say, you're weak, my people. You're weak, that your time.
Yeah.
That they lead us. That they lead us. Now be peace. They tell you we lead them. They were in peace to now who do nothing to them, but they want now. They're not a good time. Thank you, Boakai.
Thank you. And we urge maybe leaders of the Unity Party to call on the show And let's chit chat. This is important. We are beginning to hear from ordinary people because basically saying they want peace. They just want to move on with their lives. They don't want to be harassed or told that you support the CDC will get to you and that's why I see like that caller from Bond County who was saying the folks are beginning to harass us. And we also heard a similar thing happening in Nimba. So maybe the Unity Party people need to call. It's 086561537 and admonish our people that they can go about their normal business and all of that. Let's talk to this caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, brother.
Your name, where are you calling from? Okay, no, I think I have a stakeholder right now that I want to talk to. We have former Representative Clarence Massaquoi on the line. Honorable, good morning.
I'll be former representative in January.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm so sorry. Okay, yeah, in January. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, but that's okay, man. Just for the fun.
All right, okay, bro.
Yep. Well, I just tuned in, and it's important for all of us. I'd like to start on the note that Liberia is all we have.
Yeah.
The peace of the country is a responsibility of all of us, regardless of political party affiliation.
Yeah. Yeah.
President-elect Joseph Newman Boakai is a peaceful man.
Yeah.
He's a good man.
Yeah.
I am more than 100% convinced that he is going to be the president for all Liberians.
Exactly.
I just like to use this time. Our country is to where we have it. It's not to where we want to, but it's not to where it used to be. There's a need for us to concentrate on moving the country forward. There are people in the business community, there are students, there are women, our health system, education, technology, security, reforms. Too many things that we have to do to focus on the livelihood of our people. At the end of every election, election has its own tension.
Yeah.
And it's understandable. People are passionate about their sides. That's understandable.
Exactly.
It is now on us who by January 22nd, 2024 will be the ruling party.
Yeah.
Once again, it is our job to bring peace, promote reconciliation, and move our country forward. I know in some towns, even in my district, there were ups and downs. People use words.
You're talking about Kolahun district.
Yes, election is done. It's my job, and I've been doing that. Calm has returned. So it is our job now. Even those in the media, I like the fact that we're having this engagement this morning.
Yeah.
Let's work together, Boakai,
Yeah.
to make sure our country is what we want to be, not just for our generation. I feel a huge responsibility on our generation that 4 or 5 generations from now will remember that there was a Boakai, there was a Massaquoi,
Yeah.
there was a Jeremiah Kuhn. See how
There was a George Weah.
There was a George Weah. There was a Joseph Boakai. We all are responsible to provide the kind of Liberia that our children's children should inherit and be proud of us. That is personally and I think collectively that should be our focus. I know there will be tension here and there. Let's work together, calm the tension and focus on national building and joining one reconciliation and nation building. Thank you so kindly for the opportunity this morning. Let all of us move around. We are Liberians. Our country is not even family. We're not even say small population.
I know it. Well, that was quite a reconciliatory note that was sounded there by the representative. You say enough for more. Representative Clara Massaquoi. Clara Massaquoi is a representative from the Kolahun district, but I was quite pleased. And he's a staunch member, has remained a staunch member of the Unity Party all along. So when I sounded the call that we needed some leaders of the Unity Party to call in, and he called him. I just want to say thank you, Honorable Massaquoi, for calling in to the program this morning. Let's talk to this caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Your name, where are you calling from?
My name is calling from the Highway.
Where your full name, man?
My Carter.
Yeah, Miles, go ahead.
Okay, thank you for the show. I just want to commend every one of you there. You know, when elections finish, what Liberia have to do is to come together for peace sake.
Yeah.
We all need to work for one goal, which is peace. In partisan business, we all need to forget about it. When elections finish, we forget about party. And then go forward with development in our country. I just listened to the lady that called. We lead them and they have to lead us.
Yeah.
We don't expect the older one to be saying those things. We expect them to be talking about peace and forget about the past and see how they know how best we can move forward.
Yeah.
You see, they are the one. They are the parents for us. They should be the one to fix things that would motivate the youth at least so that they can all embrace peace in this country. Not to be talking about we lead them. They have to lead us.
Yeah.
Those things, it brings some feeling to all people, and people capitalize on this.
Well, but she was talking about being singled out and targeted by other people whose party she didn't support.
Okay, which we don't want to embrace.
Yeah, so let's look at her plight and her concerns too, though.
Yeah, of course, which is well understood, and we need to forget about all those things and see how best we can move forward as Liberia. Liberia is all we have. We don't want to end on to be moving here and there. This is the only thing we can fight for in this country. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you. Let's talk to. Do we have a caller right there on the line? Let's talk to that caller. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name? Where are you calling from?
Boakai from Central Council.
Okay.
The issue of peace. We that elected, we are two political parties. President we are that of Omer Boakai, the United Party and that of the CDC particularly. I don't know why other people, after the two presidents are reconciled, even the outgoing president were able to congratulate the incoming president, consolidate the key ahead of final pronouncement of the United Commission.
Yeah.
Knowing to the fact that Liberia went through that break, and that was for the same attitude to come back. So, looking at it, started to console the peace and to bring peace to Liberia. My outgoing president said we should formulate his example with the following. I believe Omer Boakai is a peace also. So he also has the same tendency of bringing peace to the country. So we the follow, I don't know why we should go after one another. The two presidents that have the country to succeed the peace, they have brought peace to us through reconciling themselves. There are other people over there in the night, those people that are
and let me just state there are a couple of things. Yeah.
I always say that those always in the habit are people that also want happy through the 14 years. They are the people from the 2003 to 2007, 2005 bomb. So they not see what happened in the country. Our president saw it, Omer Boakai saw it, and now want to kind of attitude to come back in the country.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let me read something that he said on yesterday. He said it will be a country that will be united. I'm talking about President-elect Joseph Boakai. He said it will be a country that will be united, will be reconciled, will begin to work again, where everyone will see themselves as proud citizens. It is going to be a new day, how we work together, how we unite together. And I can assure you that Liberia is on the move for better days. And then he went on to say, this is not about the Unity Party. This is not about the CDC. It is for all of us. And this is a note being sounded. By the way, he sounded this note on yesterday during the cleanup campaign on the occasion of his birthday. So basically, he's saying he's sounding a reconciliatory note. And I'm just looking at the whole aura of the atmosphere. He was wearing white, basically a mark of unity, peace, reconciliation, and all of that. And then he sounded all of those right notes and what have you. His predecessor, who is still in office right now, is sounding the same sort of notes. So it's up to the supporters right now to, forget about all the bit up. I know it's difficult to transition from a hotly contested election such as ours, with just 20,000 for 1% of the vote, the value 49.50. It's going to be tough, but we urge you to just follow the voice of your leaders. Make sure that people like Roof, I think a man Roof or so in Bond County, who was complaining about her safety and security is safe. But let's talk to this caller. Last week he called us. We miss him. He's calling from Turkey, right? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Honorable Minister. How are you?
I'm doing well. I didn't know where you're calling from.
I'm Melvin calling from Istanbul, Turkey.
Okay, Melvin, go ahead.
Yes, well, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for your work. All along you've been there and you stay on the show. I want to say thank you so much. But I just have a warning, or I don't know how to call it. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Our president-elect is leaving the country, or have left the country.
Wow, this is an internet call, by the way. So every time we have a local call, it's gonna cut off. Go ahead. Let's try again and see. Wow. That's the challenge with the internet calls. Yeah, I know my buddy want to call in. He's calling from Turkey. He follows this show so religiously and wants to have his say. I wish I could have him, but with the number of local calls, it's going to be a little bit difficult to do so right now. Let's talk to this other caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name, where are you calling from?
My name is Ibrahim Feka, and I call you from District 17.
Yeah, Ibrahim, go ahead.
Thank you for the $12 discussion this morning. I'm the national chairperson of the Citizen Action for Joe Boakai President of the TIA for sure.
Okay.
Let me say this for the record.
Oh man, how you went off the line? Fakai, please call us back, please. Let's talk to this other caller. Good morning. I think I call this off.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Your name, where you calling from?
Good morning, brother.
Yeah, your name, where you calling from?
Thank you. This is Samuel Dekefla.
Yeah, Samuel, go ahead. Yeah, Samuel, go ahead.
Let me appreciate this morning. What I can say this morning is that I'm hearing people talking about portraying them. It is not right. The people who ran this election, one have lost, another have won.
Yeah.
President George Weah and Ambassador Joseph Imam Boakai. We saw this in the one time when it comes to the traditional team.
Yeah. Both of them have moved on.
So we as a supporter, sympathizer, well wishers, I don't think it is benefiting for us to sit in our community where we see each other every day, we eat together, work together, we keep going against each other personally low. Politics is not about losing elections, not death sentence. So I just want to caution time and unity parties that whosoever to stop it is going on, to stop raising our fellow men to anger, because we have every job to do. This year is something that we have to pray for the public. We should hope for the good of this country.
Yep.
We shouldn't be talking about somebody getting our time. So it is a city that can be on that the country is heavily divided based on the result of the election. So on that note, it is good that we should, acknowledge, the challenges that the government will have. But on the other hand, we shouldn't have, because we say we will protest when actually one will not get a chance. No. All of us can be on the margin of making the country better. So if we lose, it is good enough that you can do the current government. So our country can go forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's talk to this caller. Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning, Minister Foana.
Yeah. Peter Lynn Peters.
Yes, thank you for the invitation. And I'm calling for Kumata.
Okay, Peter Lynn.
Let me say thanks this morning for the conversation, and let me say thanks to the President George Weah, for maintaining the peace of our country. Even though it wasn't easy for we the partisan, but I think we are trying to overcome that. And when it comes to
I heard that say that I'm small crying, you cry one of the reduces. I know it was tough.
Yes, it's part of life. It's part of life. But yeah, I want to cope with it now. And we just want to say to the unity partisan that Because I've been hearing few friends from various communities telling me that they have been attacked. Then one of my friends, she did on a, I think a this island, she said the landlord, he gave him notice to move.
Oh, wow. Wow. Hey, man. Why is the line cutting off? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Your name and where are you calling us from?
Yeah, my name is Maxine J. Tati, and I call from Mangibi District 1.
Maxine, what's up? How's Magibi?
Yeah, Mangibi is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we just want to be grateful to God for maintaining our peace because it was the greatest thing that some of us we now where we are going to go if there was going to be a problem.
I know, eh?
Yeah, so we just give God the glory that God, all of our prayer were accepted through the President George Weah.
I know.
And I want to really stress on what that lady said from Bon County because I was there before the runner-up. It's true, the health worker have even lost the sense of the, of the oath that they took. Because people go to hospital, they if I die, your president, he don't want me no drugs here. I don't think these are the job of the health workers. They are there for everybody. Whether you support party X or party Y, it should be in the model of serving the public. But they go in election, it brought the vision that some of us were even afraid to go to some of the things because when you go there, you show who you are. Who knows? They might break million
No, man.
Yeah, but if people
anyway, you need there should be trust between the patient and the health worker. So if you breach that trust, so the patient has, may have the right to speculate and all of that. But I'm just thinking, I mean, yeah.
This is so, especially for Prince, we don't want Prince to devour our country. Bon County is a united country from day one. We love peace. So I think the 2029 is coming. Let we know that Bon County is a peaceful country.
All right, thank you so much. All right, that is the voice of one of our callers there. So we're beginning to hear this talk a lot about the level of division that existed in Bon County prior to the election. By the way, that's a county that the President George Weah won by the slimmest of margin, though, but still won. And so it means that county is heavily divided. It might just be an epitome of how the entire country is. And so that is why we need to reconcile this country. So we have one group of people saying that just because they lost the election, even though that country voted heavily for not heavily, at least voted by majority for the CDC, but it's still being discriminated against to the extent that one of the callers is saying that even, some of the health workers, we got no way of authenticating this information. Maybe it was a case by case basis. Maybe it's an individual case that happened, and then some of the people want to widen it to include all health workers, or maybe it is exactly what is actually obtaining, and so it needs to be handled by the authorities there and talked about. But maybe if you're an authority in Bon County, you can call us 0886-561-537, and let's talk about that. But it just shows the level of burden that the new administration faces when it comes to reconciling this country. Now we're talking about health workers picking people, allegedly, on the basis of their political party. That is the worst form of discrimination you want to have. Health workers selecting patients on the basis of their political party, allegedly, in Bon County. Allegedly. Because we got no way of verifying. I mean, we haven't verified. We got a way of verifying, but we haven't verified yet. So, allegedly, if that is a fight, the authorities need to intervene quickly. I like to cite the examples that happened in 1980. Now, the first time we got rid of the whole Chewy party, the American Liberian rule, we had a group of natives that had taken over in Waterview. They took over by a coup d'etat. Maybe that's not a good example of what is happening today because this was a democratic elections. But the ostracizing of a whole group of people, maybe going after them and what have you, led to the 1990 conflict. Oh, yeah. The ostracizing of a whole group of people plus the rigging of the 1985 elections led to the 1990 conflict. There was a whole group of people being sought after, being pursued. Some of them ran into exile and this and that. And I said last week, every time you run Liberians into exile, they come back. It happened in 1980 and 1985. They came back in 1990. It happened in 1997 when Charles Taylor was elected, and some of Liberia's academics and technocrats were ran out of this country. They came back in 2003. You know, President-elect Joseph Boakai has been sounding a different note, a reconciliatory note. I just read some of the comments that he made at his 79th birthday celebration when folks went to see him. We just hope that supporters can take cue from that. But it should not just be supporters of the Unity Party. It's supporters on all sides of the divide. We need to, President Weah has toned down the rhetorics. It seems as if the Unity Party people too have toned down the rhetorics. We're beginning to see that even some of the stunt supporters of the Unity Party, they've all toned down the rhetoric. Nobody going on Facebook saying, "Oh, we won the election." Where the CDC people are, they were saying there's. No, we're not seeing that. At least on a greater scale, or by majority of the folks, we're seeing that from one or two partisans who haven't toned down. I mean, and we can't all people say, "Tune now, stop automatically." No. There are elections. People have the free will to write where they want to write. It's a free society. People have freedom of conscience and all of that. But the admonition that has been given is from the different political leaders. They're saying basically elections are over. Let's talk about reconciling the country. Let's talk about how we can reconcile the country. Maybe one of the ways to reconcile the country is to reach, showing the images of the two political leaders on the stage like they did when President Weah invited President-elect Joseph Boakai to the executive mansion. And there were, outgoing Vice President Joe Howard Taylor and incoming Vice President, Jeremiah Kuhn on the stage as well. All of these leaders were together. That a lot of people said was one of the most powerful images that can ever come out of Liberia. To see and there is nothing in comparison to what happened that day at the executive mansion to what happened in 2017. President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was not on the ticket in 2017. She didn't run. She didn't have anything to lose. She didn't feel sold as a result of losing. But this was a man who had just lost an election. And not just an election that he had won by a vast majority of the people. It was an election that all of the different bookmarkers, the different political pundits, and everybody had projected that he would have won. And he didn't. He was the incumbent and didn't rig the elections in keeping with his promise and lost by about 20,000 votes. That's about 1% of the votes. Following that, even before the final announcement, he called his projected winner, congratulating him, went on the national radio, calling the country to become, come together, which a lot of people said that was the right move to make. Otherwise, that very night, there would have been trouble in this country because other folks had begun to celebrate. There were heightened tension, anxiety. People were on tenterhooks and all of that. And when he came up with that comment or that speech, it reconciled the country. And then following that, he set up his transition team. And Joseph Boakai set up his transition team. And all of that. And some of the folks, by the way, we should talk about Joseph Boakai transition team. I know that there's been some political people out there talking about the composition of the transition team. Might it be a reflection of what Joseph Boakai's cabinet is going to look like? Is it Dukes of the Unity Party under Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's administration? Because we're beginning to see some of the faces. Amrakone, for instance, how do they call it? Samuel Kofi Woods, Vapila, all of those different actors of the former Unity Party, regime. Might it be the kind of people they want to, but it's up to the president. The Constitution provides, we can only analyze, talk about it. It's not illegal. The Constitution gives the president the authority to elect his folks. But this is, all of what has happened has projected Liberia to the forefront of, one of the world's leading democracies. And President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf set the tone. President, we are consolidated in a more formidable way. Some of the things he did in the last couple of weeks, 2 weeks or so, 2 or 3 weeks, that he's done has made a lot of people to review. I was listening to a staunch critic of His Excellency the President. She's been a staunch critic. I'm talking about the academic Rupture Pale, whose opinion is highly respected on the international stage. She was speaking to DW Radio. I mean, she firstly talked about the fact that she doesn't agree with most of the things President Weah has done as president of Liberia, but that speech that he gave to the country, rallying the country after the election, was one of the most powerful speeches that any African leader could have given. And basically, what he told African leaders is that Africa can have thriving democracies as well. And that a leader can lose an election and concede defeat and call his rival and congratulate him like it happened even in the United States during the last election. Donald Trump didn't congratulate Joe Biden. He walked out of the White House without even being there for the inauguration. So Liberia, in several respects, has set an example. Has set an example that many were emulated. So that a lot of people begin to talk about, and this is thanks to both leaders. It's not just one. It's thanks to President. We are the outgoing president. It's thanks to President-elect Joseph Boakai, the incoming president. Both of them have been sounding quite a reconciliatory note. Look at that image of them in front of the executive mansion shaking hands. The first image of President-elect Joseph Boakai walking in the executive mansion, being accompanied by Foreign Minister, D. Maxwell Kemea, and then meeting President Weah, escorting him into that conference room, shaking his hands and all of that. That was one of the proudest moments for all of us as Liberians. And then some bozo or somebody sit in there and want to just destroy everything that these two formidable democratic heroes have done in their individual respect and say, you didn't vote for my party. But that's not a vote for you. 50% of the country didn't vote for one party or the other. 50%. So stop telling people which party to vote for. Some dude called me on a private number talking about, oh, you're not congratulated. By the way, I have congratulated Boakai on my Twitter page. But you're a coward to have called me on a private number. You try to call me, have you congratulated Joseph Boakai? Oh, yeah, I've congratulated him like 2 days after the elections on my Twitter page. And talked about, my political sting and all of that. It was a thriving experience and all that. I mean, I was a professional journalist before entering into the realms of politics. I can go back and become an independent and professional journalist like I'm attempting to practice right now. But it was cowardice on your part to have called me on a private number and say, oh, have you congratulated? You barely speak English. So that's one of the first things. And a lot of people begin, and so this, imagine me, I'm a level receiving that. So that lady from Bond County, who was fearing for her well-being, we just hope, and I'm happy that Clarence Massacre of the Unity Party called this morning. I was hoping that my friends would call. My friends, Moali, Amos Tue, Boakai Jaliba, some of my friends in the Unity Party, Patrick Horner, would have called this morning and say, this is not what the tune of our transition process. This is not what we're sounding. Some of the folks that are beginning to become overzealous need to tune down. This is exactly what President-elect Joseph Boakai has said, and he said it himself. It's not going to be blue, green Liberia. It's going to be one Liberia. It's not going to be a Liberia for Unity Party or the CDC. It's going to be one Liberia. He said that again on yesterday, and we just need to follow the cues of the two political leaders. Well, that's all the time we have for today's edition of the show. I've been here since 10 o'clock this morning. Since 8 o'clock this morning, by the way. It's 10 now. I've been here since 8 o'clock this morning. I would have loved to have had my colleagues on the show. Today they were not here. Today I was alone, but it was a great experience, a great interaction with the public. Talked to several people, including the Minister of Youth and Sports, who talked about the upcoming county meet. That's going to be a great reconciliatory event. We look forward to it. I know Lofa County is going to win. I know Lofa County is going to win. Anyway, but yeah, join us again next week for a brand new edition of the show. My name is Boakai Foana. I am the Deputy Minister for Technical Services at the Ministry of Youth and Information. You disturbing me.